Happy Monday! Thank you for joining me here tonight. We are going to continue on the Granny Squares quilt. We have a pile of blocks done already and they are looking so adorable. I am loving them, and the neat thing is that this all starts out as strips. So this is ready to become one of those blocks. I'm excited. So thanks for joining me here. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So like I said, you guys, we are working on the Granny Squares quilt. Here are some more of my blocks. It's by Lissa Alexander for American Patchwork and Quilting. So, all right, we have, gosh, I don't remember what we counted up, but I think we're about halfway done with all of our blocks. They're all just a little bit different, which makes them all super duper fun. But what we did last time is we took all of our remaining strips and sewed them together. So each one of these strip groupings represents a block. So I think we will work on this all week. We'll see how many blocks we can get done. We've been getting about one done a time, but now since the strips are sewn together, maybe we can squeeze in one more during this week. That would be awesome. Next month when we work on this, I think we will skip ahead and we'll start the border. There is a really intricate border on here, and I know a lot of people were that far, so I thought maybe we skip ahead and work on that border a little bit, and then I can come back and finish up these blocks at a different time. So I don't know, that's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think, if that's a good idea or not. Great to see you guys. Let's get going. All right, hello, hello. Mary Jane's here, Rebecca's here, Arloa, Christy, hello everyone. Oh, Christy says I ordered the Embroidery of the Month. Ooh, and a cone of white floss. It'll last you till you die. So yes, you guys, I sent out an email today for our new embroidery floss. So we've grouped our floss into a bunch of little mini collections. And now that we have our own floss that we're using, we are not making it out of giant cones anymore. So I actually have a lot of cones in the warehouse still, and I put all those on the website. So if you guys wanted a giant cone of floss, and we did the math, I think it ends up being like 260 normal skeins of floss. It's something crazy. That even doesn't sound like enough, really. So I'll have to look it up again. But it's like 2,100 meters of floss. It's awesome. I love it so much, these cones of floss. And then also our cute little curated packs. All right, you guys. Oh, and it's in a whole new section under the embroidery floss. So, oh yes, Gretchen, check it out. We have a very limited amount of some of the cones. Like, I think we only have 3 more of that classic, like, Christmas red. So I know the white, black, and that red, that 321 is what the number is of the red. That's the most popular. So I suspect those are going to go first. So if you wanted to snag one of those, I would look into that. All right. So you can see we got our little stair-stepping of strips going. So now we just need to chunk it apart. And then we'll press it. So let's get the iron going. And this is where I've been eyeballing. So I think what was best is I just went on the back, lined it up here, and just kind of eyeballed it straight. We have plenty of edge on either side that us just eyeballing this is just going to be totally fine. I know this is like super cringy to people who want this to be just like perfect and pressed right away, but we will actually get there. We will get to that perfect and pressed spot. Okay, So there we go. I'm going to make these blocks one at a time still because this represents a block. I don't want to cut up all of the strips and then get confused what cut goes with what block. So we're going to do it this way. I'm going to divide up like even and odds because the even numbered of strips presses away from the teal, our outermost, and the seam allowance we're pressing away from the teal, and then the seam allowance on the odd ones we're pressing towards the teal. So, all right, got that first little cut done. Okay, so these two are towards the teal. So this is the back. I'm going to press the seam allowances so they're aiming, they're like pointing towards that teal. And now that I'm thinking about it, we could probably do what we did with the all of these guys. We made a whole pile of more leaders the other day, and we were pressing them, like laying a ton out all at once. I bet you we could put all of these on the mat at once. And just so you guys know, I did spend time this weekend. I did end up trimming all these. So all of these needed trimming. They had the dog ears on and just like a really rough edge. I trimmed all of these. There's like a bajillion of them. I didn't even count them, but it took hours to trim all these. But now we'll just be able to use these as leaders as well, just sewing these into little rows of 5 half square triangles. So I'm excited for that. So we'll be using those probably a little bit today. But what we did for that, let me do the other odd one here. But what we did for that is we laid a bunch out to press all at once. And I think that super duper duper sped up the process. So I suspect we can at least lay 2 out. Oh gosh, that is crooked. I forget that I gotta pay a little bit more attention to how I'm pressing these. Oh, and I should hit it from the front too, because I don't want these crooked as best I can, and depending on how I pull it and press it, it's gonna make these like a little wavy, like I got a little wave in there. I just gotta pay a little more close attention to it, I think. So, all right, those are our odd ones. So this is what I'm saying. Let's get all the even ones out. So the evens, we press away. So let's just get all of them out, all lined up, and then we can do one right after each other. And just laying it all out like this, at least with how we were doing the leaders last week, really kind of absurdly sped up the process, just having them all on the board here like this. Because then I can just jump to this one right away. And I'll flip all these around too to press the front. So I hope all of y'all are doing well. Kimberly is asking, have I ever heard of a pressing stick? So I'm guessing I guess I don't know the term for it, so maybe it's, I guess it's the pressing stick, but let me know if this is what you mean. It's kind of like a stick that has a really flat edge to it, and it's kind of like finger pressing, where you're not pressing with the iron, and you're just kind of like, I'm rubbing my finger across the seam instead of using the iron, and it is just like a flat-ended stick that kind of does the same thing. Is that what you're talking about? If so, no, I have not used one, but it's on my list of tools to try because, now it's so nice with the cordless iron. Actually, the cordless iron kind of turned me around, but I was getting so annoyed with my iron and it'd have to be far away, and sometimes with improv piecing, you just need to get it flat real quick. So I thought one of those sticks would be awesome, but I never ended up getting one. For some reason, I don't know. Let me know if that's what you're talking about. If not, then please tell me what it is. All right, so we are all pressed. I am going to line, I'm just kind of taking one of these rows, I'm taking the teal one, and lining it up against my ruler, like one of the lines on the ruler, so it's straight. And then I'm also barely crossing it over another line. So that's what I'm going to use to get my nice, to cut this edge. Because remember, I could just kind of sliced across there. Now I want a real, actual, nice, clean edge. And I'm going to cut these all at once. So I'm just kind of layering them and still lining up an edge there. I'm trying not to like lay them all right on top of each other, because then that's just too much to cut through. And I suspect I may need to switch the blade on my rotary cutter, but that won't be tonight because I don't think I have any more here. But I might have to. I think I have some at the office, so I might have to bring some home tomorrow. Oh, no, I don't know about that. Okay, so Kimberly's saying is that stick, it's like a stick, a white stick covered with batting, and they come in different lengths, and you put them under a seam, and it gives you the full width of your piece. Oh, interesting. So, almost like, okay, I think... So, is this like one of those things that help people press a seam open? Like almost like what like a tailor would press a sleeve onto, kind of? Is it kind of like that? I feel like I'm close. I feel like I've seen that before, and I feel like it's people like it because they can kind of drape their seam over an arc, and it kind of allows them to press the seam open easier. Is that kind of the same thing? I have not used one, so that's the end-all answer, but I'd be excited to try. And it gives you the full width of the piece. Yeah, so it's like a long thing. You can drape your piece over, and it helps you press the seam open. All right, 1.5 inches. I think that is right. Yep. All right, so I need 4 of these because we got like 4 corners to our square here, basically. And we get 1 of these in each. All right, so no nicks out of there yet. You really know when you need to change a blade if there's like one tiny little thread that's just not cutting. Like if I cut this whole entire length and there's just like one thread that's still stuck on there, that means I have a nick out of my blade. Oh, see, like right there. Ooh, that's a bummer. Because I want these to stay all lined up and pretty. Let's try and get them back. So if you do have that one little thread that's still stuck, that means you have a nick out of the blade, and it's just going to get more and more annoying, like it already is. So you'll want to change that blade. Also, it should just cut like butter through this stuff. So if you're putting any pressure down, you shouldn't be like putting your weight into it really. If you're getting to that point to cut through stuff, like I'm getting there, it is time for a new blade as well. It gets dangerous at that point. You don't want to like slip and then cut a finger off. Don't want that. Okay, safety on. Oops, flip that over, that's fine. See, I have all this left over, so that's why I didn't really need, need to like use a ruler earlier. But you know what? I'm looking at these now. I have that big bin that we went over last week of just pieces to sew together. I bet you these are plenty big enough to sew to other pieces. Okay, I'm putting these in my scrap bin. They're not garbage. It's going into scraps. I'm just going to get that bin bigger and bigger, aren't I? All right, so we're done with that. So up next, all we have to do is start assembling this now. So let's shimmy these off. Okay, at this point, we're also going to need our other 2 little deals here. So we have our center square. Oh, Kathy says, I press on mine way too much on the rotary cutter. I need to change blades much more often. Yeah, I am trying to do that more often too. Just like changing my needles and oiling the machine, I'm trying to change my blades more often. But dang, those puppies are expensive, those rotary cutter blades. But like, I mean, like this weekend again, I saw another person who had to go to the emergency room to get a pile of stitches in her finger because she cut through her hand with the rotary cutter. So like, you know, that's why I wear the glove. And then also, you know, if you're pushing real hard on there, you're going to be way more likely to do some weird mistake. So I don't know, freaks me out. So that keeps me doing that. All right. So here are all my pieces basically for this. I'm going to start laying this out. So actually the centerpiece and all the ones that have 6. So these are our rows. So remember we started with strips, our long strips, but now after we cut them, they've become like these neat little rows of squares. It's kind of awesome. I love this strip piecing idea. So we're going to actually put the sixers and there we go, and our centerpiece, we're going to just put those aside for now, and we're going to build our little corners basically. So each corner of our square we're going to build. So we're going to stair step it up. We need the 1, which is those little extra pieces I just got out of the bag here, and then we need the 2. Here's the 4 and the 5. So we want to stair step it with our outermost color. In my case, it's the teal. That's consistent throughout. So I always have my outermost color is the teal. We're going to stair step it out. I'm missing the 3 piece. Here we go. So like you don't want the teal down at the bottom. You want it stair stepping, and that's what's going to give us our like grid. So I need to make 4 more or 3 more of those. And then we can sew these guys together. So we're basically sewing corners. So if we look at our piece here, we're kind of just basically sewing a triangle like this, right? So this is the 1 piece, the 2 piece, 3, 4, 5, and then later we'll put the 6 on. So it's kind of goofy. We're ultimately going to rotate this, but we're making 4 parts right now. Okay, let's just get our other 2 pieces down here. Nope, that way. All right, and then we'll be off to the machine. So how I'm going to sew this, and this is the game plan for the night really. We're going to sew the first 2 columns in each of these, and we're just going to sew them so they all stay on the machine. Then we'll snip this off, sew the next row on, or column, and then we'll just keep adding columns just around and around and around in a circle like this. So that is the plan. All right, let's go to the machine. All right, so we're going to start with our first 2. Let's just put those together, and we'll start sewing. So we'll see how our seam allowance does tonight as well. We did reset the seam. Oops, I got to take my little fabric piece out of there so this works. Hold on. There we go. Motor was spinning the wheel and it wasn't hitting the bigger wheel. All right. So now this is that second column. So we're doing all the 1s and 2s together. I'm hoping this goes faster. Like before we were sewing all the strips together and dealing with all that, although I suspect that the bulk of the time is kind of what we're doing now. So I'm hoping we can maybe get 1 more done than usual this week by just having all the strips prepped, but I don't know if we'll actually get there. Okay, here's the last one. there's our leader. He's done. Toss him into my basket. All right, so I'm just going to cut these one at a time. I'm kind of curious. Nah. I was curious if I could keep holding onto my scissors while I work, but I won't be able to. I have to actually match up the seams now. So I want this seam to run perfectly into this seam. I don't want it to end up like stair-stepped like that. Like I don't want it that little jogging. So that's why we pressed our seam allowances in opposite directions, and you can kind of see that if we put these together. So one seam allowance, this one's going to the left, and this one's going to the right. So that means there's like a little fold right here, like a little bit bulky fold. And by pressing these in opposite directions, those folds are going to just kind of butt up against each other. So right like that, you can actually feel it, like it's almost locks in place like that. That kind of locking in place is what's going to get us that really lined up seam. So it's called nesting seams when you lock your seams together like that. So you can actually feel it. So I'm going to get it down on the ground here and still kind of feel for them to be locked together, and then we're going to sew, keeping my edges lined up. All right, let's get the next one. We'll see how we did when we get around the corner. So same thing, butt up those folds, the folds butt up to each other, because I'm using my scissors as my stiletto now. It's nice having a stiletto. It's kind of like a tiny pointy finger. I like it to help guide my thread, or guide my pieces through. All right, here's the third one. We got that weird stair step on one side, so these are a little awkward to sew through. And I am sewing all the way to the end. All that extra seam is going to get trimmed off eventually. And how we're sewing one thing after the other, and it's like kind of all connected like this, that's called chain piecing. So it looks like one big giant chain. Alright, I'm going to try and peek up and read some comments too while I sew here. I missed a lot of the conversation already today. Makes me sad. That's what happens when I'm cutting stuff. My eyeballs are on what I'm cutting versus comments. Oh, you were wondering what the pokey thing was. Oh yeah, so that's my stiletto. So this stiletto, which is kind of my go-to, it's got like that sharp point, so that's really nice to kind of hold things down, almost like a pin, right? This is just a turkey lacer. So like for Thanksgiving, a turkey lacer that has some beads with a little blob of glue at the end there. So that's like literally all this is, a little turkey lacer. And then I have this kind of fun scissors, which I am hoping to be in the store soon. We're getting samples of these, and it's kind of nice. It's the same length as my other one of my stiletto, so I'm kind of used to it. The length. So sometimes I just grab that for the stiletto. So we're going the next one up here, but it has two seams we now need to match. Oh, and we didn't check this one to see how it works, so we'll check that next. So with the two seams, I like going to the first one and making sure the needle's in there, then it's kind of holding it, and then I can feel those folds on the next one. I'm just kind of lining that up and bumping them together there, and then I can finish up. All right, so on this one, let's see how we did with lining up those seams. Oh gosh, I kind of have a little jog in there, so that's what I'm trying to avoid. This is pretty minor, but ideally that's going straight across there. We'll see how we did on some of the other ones. But yeah, so on these we actually have two that we want to have match up. See if we did better on some of these other ones. Alright, so I'm through that first seam. Let's line up this second one. I actually do like the stiletto with that sharp point. Kind of easier to shush things around where you need them. Alright, how we do on this one? That one's a little bit better. Getting more straight across there. Oh, interesting, Nolene's saying there's someone that sharpens blades, rotary cutter blades online. So I've gotten a rotary blade sharpener before. It's one that you manually like shush it through a guide, and so it's kind of like you're running it up against the edge, and that's supposed to sharpen it. I don't think it did anything, so I don't know. I know there's mechanical one or machine ones that spin a blade. You take the blade off and then it spins it around against the stone or whatever. Oh, there, that's a good looking. That's going right across. That's what we're going for. So I haven't tried one of those electrical sharpeners, but I tried a manual one in here. It didn't really do much. I just started buying them in bulk instead. Kind of getting sets of 10 of them instead of just like one or two. Alright, I think we're on the last round here. Oh my gosh, she does it with a sharpening stone by hand. Dang, that's interesting. Nolene, I'll have to look into that. Ooh, we got two good ones. That looks good. I don't think I've used titanium blades, Kimberly. Huh. Guess I didn't realize that was a thing. I'll have to look into that. The bummer of these things, though, are like you get just that one nick. Like maybe the rest of it is super sharp yet, but you get that one nick, and then it becomes just dreadful to cut fabric. Because even with that one nick out of it, you're going to have that one little thread that it skipped over. That's going to be super annoying every single cut. Looking okay. Whoop. Onto the floor almost. Oh man, you guys, I couldn't believe how long it took to trim all the rest of those squares for the my leader and ender quilt. Crazy amount of time, but I'm really, really happy that that's done. Caught up a little bit on that quilt. And got this machine all oiled up. It's pretty happy. Oh, Kimberly said that she's been seeing ads for the titanium rotary cutter blades. She has a titanium scissors that she likes, but hasn't tried the blade. So yeah, if anyone's tried those titanium blades, let us know what you think about them. Ooh, these seem further apart, these seams, than they should be. Try to stretch them closer together. All right, we got one more. And then we get to use one of the leaders and enders to take this off the machine. So if you're just coming in, the leader and ender project, basically a leader or ender is like, right now I need to take this off of the machine. So a lot of people will just keep a little piece of fabric like this, and then they'll just sew onto here, and then they'll just be able to snip it, and you won't have tons of strings and stuff everywhere, and then it's ready to go. But instead of just sewing over and over a piece of fabric like that, I've been working on a whole nother project. So I made like these half square triangles. So instead I'm going to just sew this seam together. So this is like a whole nother quilt that we're going to work on little by little while we work on other projects. So there we go. Now we can take this off the machine, and we got our pieces here. Let's check it out. All right, so this is our chain. We can snip them apart. And next up, we are going to have to iron these guys. So let's get the iron warmed up again. Get my little mat out. Okay, so here is what they look like. We got our little squares started. So now these are going to get pressed away from that fiver piece. So I'm just going to flip them over. Let's do it like how we did before. Let's flip them all kind of over. I wonder if I can fit them all on this little mat. They should all be in the same direction, so we should be good there. All right, let's press them. Oh, they look pretty like that, don't they? This would be a cute quilt, actually, like a gray solid. And then like a really fun just corner edge. Okay, I'm going to turn this into a quilt really quickly here. Could be like that. And then this one would start here, and this one could start like there. Ooh, and we got these little gray areas, and we'd have like these stripes going down. Ooh, that would be a cute quilt, you guys. If we're feeling the need to design ourselves a quilt, we could do this strip piecing still. It'd be fun. All right, so pressing away. And I guess we can just start up here. Okay, and I think I do want to give it a little press this way as well. All right, we are ready to arrange these again. So we got our four little kind of corner pieces, I guess, or sides. It's probably a little bit more accurate. All right, so now we get to start seeing what our block is going to look like here. And now we got to bring in our centerpiece, which we did in that pink, and our 6 pieces. So remember our strips of 6. We're going to put those in now. The teal is still, the teal part is still going to be on the outside. It's so cute. Maybe we don't want these pigs right next to each other. Maybe we put that one there. Oop, wrong way. There we go. Awesome. This looks great. So what we basically have here is 9 pieces. So we're going to sew, it's like 3 rows and 3 columns, right? So we're going to sew the first 2 columns in the first row, then the second row, then the third row. Just like how we were doing the chain stitching with the last pieces. And then we'll take it off the machine, sew these. Then we'll have to take it all off the machine, press them, and then we can put the rows together after that, and then we're good to go. So, all right, let's separate our little columns and rows again here. All right, let's sew this together. So again, these 2 first, and now we're matching up all of those seams as best we can. So I'm going to actually fold this over, just so we can see it easily. And all right, let's match those seams. I'm going to do that one at a time as I go here. Seams and the edges got to match too. Each other. It's easier to match the seams in one direction compared to the other, just because how the presser foot pulls things along. Alright, that's our first column. We have our second here, or the second row here. It's just one little piece sewn on. All right, and then our bottom row here. Fold that over. Match up our seams. I know, I love each one of those. Oh, so Jolene's asking where she can get these scissors. We are getting some manufactured. So this is one of my little sample pieces of it. So I'm actually kind of testing it out. I'm hoping to have them in the shop hopefully before the holidays. We'll see how that goes. But we may be getting them in matching colors to the floss. I'm hoping we can do that. We'll see. But yeah, so I'm gonna get some scissors like this because I've been playing with them and I love the shape of them. I think they're just kind of fun, and I like the length. And like I said, I've just been kind of naturally, every once in a while, just using it as my stiletto. And I'm like, oh, I guess this works as my stiletto too. Which is awesome, because then I can just go snip it right away, because it's already in my hand. All right. Oh, and we got to get our leader off of there as well. Okay, now, there we are. Let's get the last column on this. So this is column 3 now for row 1. Let's flip that around. Oh, Kathleen says love the floss color idea. I know it totally happens to match my nails just perfectly today. It's just kind of fun. Nails should always match your scissors, right? Is that how it works? There, I think we're lined up now. Ooh, I'm getting further away. next row off the end. The next row is always the one furthest away from the sewing machine. Like the next one to come off the end is the next piece to work on. Alright, and then our last one here. Then we'll take this all off the machine again and press, and then we'll put them all together again. We'll put the final rows together at that point. Alright, getting them seams. Alright, now I need another leader. Let's just grab another one of these squares. I need 5 of these in a row for my rows, so I'm just kind of grabbing them. And when we get 5, I will start another batch. Again, that is just so I can take this off the machine easily, like this. No extra threads hanging anywhere. Alright. Let's snip apart. I kind of forget what was the top and the bottom, but it doesn't really matter, I suppose, for ours. Alright, we need to press these, and then we'll be ready to sew them all up. Actually, I think it was maybe this way. Not that it matters. Alright, so for these pieces, I'm going to press this seams like outward, and then so this one's going to be going this way, and this one's going to be going this way. And I don't want to, ideally I would just press on the back here, but there's so many seams that I'm just going to kind of get it started. So they kind of lie in the correct direction. They're like that, and then I'm going to just flip it around, and we'll work on the seam here. Wow, I think I got a little bunching happening in here, so this is kind of goofy. Yeah, one of these was pretty smaller. I kept veering off, and I tried to make up for it, and I think I got a little pucker in here. We're just going to squish it as flat as we can, and it'll be fine. Alright, that guy's ready. So now these ones, I'm pressing towards the center. So we're still going in the opposite direction. So these ones are going towards the center. The big pieces are going away from the center. Alright, that guy's done. And now this one again, let's just hover over it a little bit just to get those seams going out. And now we'll just really get it. Trying to straighten it all out too as I go. Alright, final sewing then. I think we might have time to start another one up, just barely. The hope is that we can squeeze one more block in this week, but we'll see how we go. Alright, so I'm going to sew the top to the middle first. So I like flipping it over at this point, because otherwise I've accidentally, like, you know, because I'm looking right here as I start. So I've gone down like this before when actually it needed to go up another one. And so I'm sewing until I get to here, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? That ain't right. So now, while it's laid out like this, I kind of flip it over so it's kind of starting in the right spot. And then we can match them all up. Because this one's really awkward to start because we're sewing like a lot before we're connecting them. So I'm still getting that first little seam together. We gotta go all the way up here. Like, it seems wrong, but it's not. There, now this is actually the first seam that we're sewing the two pieces together. Ugh, I'm just gonna get more and more off of this one too. Oh well. I think I messed up that first one, the first thing, and now they're far apart. Although I think I'm getting it back on right here. All right, good. So maybe the center part will be good. So my seam flipped the wrong way underneath. Okay, we're matched. Good, 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 good. All right. Last stretch, going the opposite direction now with the seam allowances. So it'd be nice to sew all the way across this really quick, but I am trying to match these seams. We have done it where we've pinned or clipped it beforehand, and it does go fast, but I don't know, all that extra pinning and clipping I like avoiding. So I'm just taking a break in between each one. Oh my god, this is so far off. My cutting might have been off at some point here. Oh well. Or my pressing or something. We'll see. Alright, so I actually needed to take this off the machine to get the second part, so I do need another leader. So we're up to 3 here. Let's grab another. Alright. Just have to make sure that they face all the same direction. So we're going to get a row done on this project too. Alright, so that's snipped off. So what I'm going to do here is also kind of flip it where I lay them down first so I can see them flip, just because it is, I do want them to match up. I don't want to like shimmy it up a little bit in the wrong direction. Last seam. Like this is gonna want to bunch up again too. I think I have the most trouble on the solids. Like I think the solid colors just kind of stretch a little differently or something, but ugh, this is bunching up quite a bit too. Oops. Seam flipped over a little. I'm actually feeling for those folds to hit each other. So hopefully the seams are pretty well together. We'll see. Ooh, we're getting there though. Just need to press this and we'll trim the edge and we'll have another black done. I think we can at least cut our next pieces. All right, we need to get this off the machine, so let's add another leader to our little row here, and we'll have our first row on this guy done too. We'll start new pieces after this. All right, donezo. Let's check it out. Ah, cute. I have a lot of bunching up here. I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the line, some of these squares got a little bit big and some got a little small. I don't know. And I tried to equal them out. So it is what it is, I guess. All right, let's press. So same thing. We're wanting to press this kind of outward. So I'm just kind of hovering over it on the back, and then on the front, we'll just really try and get it again. All right, let's just start in the middle here. Yeah, I'm pretty far off there. That's okay. It's all gonna cut down to the right size anyway. Oh, it's looking cute, looking cute. I love these blocks. They're just so freaking fun. Kathy, I love it too. And that was actually the fun part about all these blocks. We picked the colors beforehand, so kind of no matter what, we know that these colors, we want them together. So so they should look pretty decent together because we spent a lot of time beforehand. But we got some issues with this one for sure. I got a couple like weird bump outs, and that one's not even a bad one. Like look here. I got off right away, or maybe this is the end where, this is probably the end, but then I have some puckers. I mean, we got some other puckers, some other little squiggles happening here. This one's rough. But you know what? Now that I think of it, I think our first one of the week is always kind of a little wonky. All right. Last part of this, and this is one of my favorite parts, is where, you know, we've been working in the diamond shape, and now we can just rotate it, and now it's starting to look like our squares, like the rest of our squares here. So last up is we need to just trim this. So I have my my ruler here. We're going to trim it to 9 inches, I believe, if I remember correctly. So what we want to do is we want to put the ruler on all like these points that aim this way, and then right on top. So not these outer edges, but these little folds there. So if I line them up at the top and the side here, so then my 9-inch line on this ruler should be awfully close to the ones on these edges too, but they are way far off, which what that means is that my seam allowance is way too skinny. So I'm making my seam allowance small, which means that the fabric left in the quilt is bigger because I'm not taking enough fabric, which is making my whole block a whole lot bigger. So I think this is actually my farthest off block. And maybe that's where some of the problems are going to come in. So I'm just going to trim it. When we sew this into the final piece, I might have some clipped points here, but that's just how it's going to be because this is way far off. So I'm going to adjust my seam allowance guide for sure. So I'm just trying to kind of equal it out, at least so it's all even. Ooh, this is far off though. Holy cow. Like really, like we're almost like a 1/2 inch off. That's crazy. Okay, cutting glove, where are you? Here we go. Okay. So we get those 2 edges first. I am going to toss these. I don't think I'm going to keep all these little triangles. We'll keep our little off-cut, our other pieces from the strips, but I don't think I'm going to keep these triangles in our scraps. All right, so I rotated it. So we got our nice edge here. So now I can go 9 inches. I'm going to put my 9-inch mark right on those cuts, and then we will have a perfect 9-inch square wherever it ends up. gosh, it is a 9-inch square. Yeah, I'm just that far off with with my seam allowance. Wow, okay. We're gonna switch that real quick. But a project like this is great for testing seam allowance because there are so many little squares. So if your seam allowance is too big, then your block will be too small. If your seam allowance is too small, then your block will get a whole lot bigger. So that's how that works a bit. All right, so there we are. First block done. Hey, and we got 4 minutes left, and we are gonna use them. So let's add this to our stack. I like this like really dark green around it. I think that's looking pretty cool. They're all so neat. But let's try and move ahead a little bit because I would like to magically somehow get one more block done during this process this week. Oh, I'd really like to get as many of these done as possible. So let's scooch ahead by cutting our next strip. So we do have all the strips sewn. So that's going to be a big help, I think. Okay, let's divide the evens and the odds already. Let's try and come up with some systems to make this easier. Or faster. That's faster and easier. How about both? All right, let's press. All right, let's do the odds first. So the odds go towards the teal. Hopefully I can get them pretty straight. Let's do the other side. You know, I am wondering if this is the point where I'm erring. Like if I'm just not pressing these good enough and that's getting some skinnier pieces and some wider pieces. I kind of suspect it's my ultimate sewing of these strips together, like way an early thing going wrong with them. But I don't know, some have been good. And like I said, as we go throughout the week, I feel like I get better and better at them. Okay, there's our odds. Okay, evens go, uh-oh, wait a sec. Yeah, towards the teal, so evens go away from the teal. Oh, you thought maybe I had a rayon in the mix. Well, I don't have a rayon, but the solids do act a little bit differently. And the other thing is that some of these, they're not all from the same place. So some of these fabrics are, well, yeah, the solids act differently, and then some of these are from Spoonflower, and some of them are from Clothworks, which is where I did my fabric with. So it's kind of like the same issue that we're having with my leader and ender, where I'm making it out of shirts and stuff. Like every shirt is just different. It stretches differently, it acts differently. So these are acting slightly different from each other. So that could be a little bit of the issue, especially when we're trying to match so many seams and make it all just perfect. Any little thing could throw it. Ooh, if we can at least get these all cut tonight, we will be well on our way. So tomorrow we'll just start the piecing process right away, and I could even lay it out. So we wake up and sew, basically. Wake up from a nap in the evening and then sew. How about like that? All right, let's trim these. I really shouldn't be pressing with the mat on top of here, but I'm only pressing these couple little things, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, if I'm going to be pressing for a long time, I would not press with this mat underneath. So same as before, we're going to cut our 1.5 inches after we cut. See, now this line seems off. So, I don't know, maybe we are doing a little weird. Well, we're just going to keep going how we're going, because it seems to be working well enough. Okay, so let's get our first nice edge. Then we'll rotate and get our 1.5 inch pieces magically from these strips. So I guess I'm kind of not Kimberly. So I'm not setting the seam. So sometimes when you see me press something when I just have two pieces together, I will, before opening it up, I will just press the seam, and that basically sets the seam. Like, it heats the seam up and kind of gets it like kind of right in the middle. And then I press it after that. And I kind of have not been doing that for these strips because they're all sewn together already. Maybe I should. I'll have to try that next time. See if that makes a difference. Oh yeah, Arloa says sometimes the grain makes a difference too. Yeah, that's a good point. That could very well be the case as well, because these are all scraps. So they were kind of like large scraps that I had. So sometimes, like the spoonflower ones for sure, it's hard to know what direction they're going. There's not really a clear selvage, and so yeah, you're right, the grain might be a whole pile of different throughout these. All right. And again, I think I will save these little bits. I'll put them in my little scrap bucket by me. And let's set this up. Let's get this going for tomorrow. Once I have this set up, I think we will call it an evening at that point. So we got, like I said, it'd be nice to get one extra of these done this week. So if we can get to that point, so all of this little mini extra that we're doing right now, that's going to help us along. So I'm taking out the sixers again. Ooh, it's going to have that bright green in there. I love that. All right, let's get our centerpiece. Ooh, we're running low on these. That means we're almost done, hopefully. Okay, and then we need our 4 one-off guys. I think these are 1.5 inch teal pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's all our pieces. Let's lay out our stair steps, and we will be completely ready to sew tomorrow. So let's just start with our ones. There we go. And I'm seeing some 2s. The teals are what's stair stepping. I always have to remind myself of that. Oh, I guess I'm just kind of grabbing, and I'm grabbing them in order, apparently. That's nice. Not anymore. Oops, I always do it wrong at first. You guys have caught me a few times where I almost sewed it upside down. Wait a sec. Oh yeah, see, I almost did there too. Jeez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right there. Ooh, this one's gonna be real pretty too. Yay! Okay. Awesome. So, all right, I think we are set for tomorrow, so we will just jump right to the machine tomorrow, and let's see if we can get at least this far tomorrow. In theory, we should be able to get this far plus sewing some together. So if we could get this far and then sew these for the next block, dang, for sure we're going to get an extra block done this week. All right, you guys, so I'm excited for tomorrow. Let's crank through these. And here is ours for tonight. So pretty. I like all these little, like, red little bits that popped up. I think it goes with that middle square quite a bit. Ooh, cute. I love all of these. This is so much fun. Yeah, so I want to get to the point where next month, so we are only going to work on this week of the month, and then next month, the first full week, we will work on this again. I would love to start the borders. So no matter where we are, it would be fun to kind of take a glance at the borders. We already have everything cut, so we just have to go through the instructions, I suppose, and figure out how to make these really intricate borders. I think we'll just skip ahead to that, and then I'll just have to come back to this at some point. One thing, you guys, I wanted to remind you that, or share with you our embroidery of the month. If you missed it, it is this cute little guy. It's this really pretty bouquet, and it does have a little spider web and a little spider on there. I think you could stitch it with or without, and it would be just as cute, this little bouquet. And I think I might actually stitch it on a light-colored fabric during our stitch along on the 19th, starting on the 19th, week 3, the third full week of the month is when we'll start stitching this. Then you can see what it looks like on a light color too, because I think you can use these same color threads on a light color fabric and have it be just as cute. So the bundle does come with the black though, so this is like a nice black Kona cotton fabric, and ooh, it just is pretty on it. Super delicate and just really fun. So that's the embroidery of the month, so check that out. And yeah, let's keep sewing this tomorrow. It's fun to be back on this project again, for sure. So thanks again, guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Good night.